Our next speech is from Eric. He's speaking out of the Humorously Speaking manual, project number 3. His goal, I'm going to let him tell us his goal. Make him laugh. That's right.
Make him laugh.
The title is Vassiver.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, struggling here.
What's the title on that?
Vassiver.
Vassiver.
You're gonna have to fill
It'll
that
make
in.
sense later. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. His intro is Eric is an okay guy. 5 to 7 minutes.
Riding home from my parents' home last night. Lights,
Lights
please.
still on.
Riding home from my... Start over. Nice, you threw me off. Okay.
There you go.
Last night, as I was driving home with my kids from my parents' home, my oldest daughter, well, not my oldest, but my daughter that's 20 years old, she asked me, "Hey, Dad, was Grandma always this sweet?" I looked in the rearview mirror and said, "Hell no!" She's like, "Come on, Dad." And I'm like, "Seriously, hell no." She's like, "Well, what was your dad like?" And I'm like, "My dad put panic in Hispanic. What do you think he was like?" What would you say about your parents? How were they like? What were they like when as you were growing up? What were they like?
They taught me a lot of great lessons.
Okay, come on. That's a total speech in itself. Jill, what were your parents like?
They were awesome, but very authoritarian.
Authoritarian, old school, right? That's the term. Chandelier, what was your mom like?
Passive.
Passive. Okay, Carolyn, what would you say?
Passive.
Okay. Well, gee, I wish my mom would have been passive. Because after the hell no comment, I was starting to think, what am I going to tell my daughters? They've heard some of the stories from the past. When we get together for family things and my brothers and sisters, we get together and talk about our parents. Our parents quickly leave the room. So what stories did I want to tell her? I thought about telling her the story of the night that I snuck back into the house through my bedroom window. And how when I had finally got undressed and got on my pajamas and laid in bed and pulled the covers over myself and was just finally starting to feel that warmth, your body generates. And you just start to feel good and comfortable and you start to relax and you start to fall asleep. Only to have your covers ripped off of you as your mother stands there, starts hitting you with the bell. I thought about telling him that story. Talk about being woken up abruptly. That'll do it. Or, I was thinking, do I tell him about the time that I felt like my mom could have played professional baseball? I think she would have been a great pitcher in the major leagues. Not the women's league from back in the 50s or 40s. I'm talking major league baseball. She would have been a great pitcher. She had a great curveball, or as I like to call it, a curved shoe. Because I could be running down the hallway, duck into a room, and that shoe would still hit me on the back of the head. She was amazing at that. My mom was kind of an authoritarian. I've already told you about my dad. The man put panic in Hispanic. So if I messed up at home, not only did I get it from my mom, but then she would say, "Vas a ver." Those are the words you don't want a Hispanic mom to say to you. Now, you guys don't know what I'm talking about because you're not Hispanic. You don't come from my culture. But you see, if you ever hear the words "vas a ver," which loosely translated means wait and see, that means you're in trouble. I still remember one day we were at Kmart and I was acting up, misbehaving, and doing things that a normal 10-year-old kid would do. And to have my mom turn around and say, "Vas a ver," kind of like in that mafia voice, "Vas a ver." I had instant fear come over my entire body because I knew what was coming. See, it's different now. Back in the 70s and the 80s, Hispanic moms, they didn't bother. They didn't wait till you got home to show you what they meant. They did it right there in front of everybody at the store. They just whack you, smack you, whatever. Right? They didn't care. Now they've gotten smart. Why? Why do you think they're smarter now? Why do you think they say wait and see? Because there's cameras in the stores. Am I right?
Yeah.
Not only in the stores, there's cameras in the parking lots. In fact, there are street cameras. So they even wait, they could even be driving. See, when I was a kid and we acted up while my mom was driving, my mom would have one hand on the wheel and the other arm would be flailing and just smacking anybody she could find. Now they just put both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, and they drive calm all the way home. Meanwhile, they're repeating the words, vas a ver, as they look in the rearview mirror. Now when they get home, that's a totally different story, right? Now the kids are gonna see what mom meant by wait and see. But my mom would give us that, and then she would tell my dad, and you know, he put panic in Hispanic, so I don't need to say anything else about that. But I reminded how different our cultures are, and how times have changed, right? I mean, there's a whole timeout generation. I remember on Sunday night, my son came over with his little boy, and he's 2 years old, and he was having a hard time, and he's teething, and he's crying, he's miserable, and my son said, "Hey, it's time for a daddy timeout." I looked at my wife and said, "What the hell is that?" Because I remember what a daddy timeout was. Knock it off, right? Stop doing that. So I was like, what is a daddy timeout? And to watch my son grab my little grandson and gently tuck him into his arms as they sat on the couch, and as he quietly spoke to him and said, "You're okay, buddy. You're with Dad. You got this. You're gonna be okay. I love you." And as he kissed him on the cheek and on the forehead, I thought, man, I've had a proud dad moment for a moment, because I thought, my son got that from me, right? And I started to get my chest out and then my wife's not. He got that from me. So just calm down. I taught him that. You're right. I said, you're probably right. Because I remember the time when I was a sales rep for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, going to a doctor's office only to see a mom and how she interacted with her kid. He's 5 years old and he's throwing a tantrum and she's counting, Billy, 1, 2, 3, 4. Billy, this is the last time. 5. And I remember the only counting my mom would have done back then was 1, 2, 3, 4, missed, 5. Mr. Toastmaster.